Hello everyone and welcome to the next instalment of Kindergarten Kickstart. My name is Marina Simcox and I'm the Head of Teaching and Learning here at Macquarie. Today I'm going to share with you some insights into early numeracy and how to support your child as they transition into kindergarten. From a young age, it's really important that our students learn through their environment and through playing. Incorporating mathematical experiences into that play is essential for a child's numeracy development. It allows them to question and inquire about mathematical things. Mathematics in the early years is about developing a strong foundation of mathematical skills, particularly as students move through junior school and then on to senior school. It prepares students for daily life, helping them to develop problem-solving skills and allows them to handle money more efficiently and effectively. It incorporates learning into everyday life. In the early years, we really need to encourage our students to notice numbers, see patterns, compare sizes and shapes of objects, and discuss time and units of measurement. For educators and parents, some of the key things that we can include in our child's development are shared on the following slides. Talking numeracy. A lot of focus in the early years is about developing a child's language skills. And a key component of this is developing language skills that are specific to mathematics. This takes a considerable amount of time to develop, and it's important that we expose our students to mathematical language from a young age. The more efficient and more effective they are in doing this at an early age, the easier things will become as they move through their schooling. How can we help at home? Using specific terms when we ask for things. For example, when we send our child to the fridge to get the milk, rather than just saying, can you go and get the milk, ask them to collect a litre of milk or the 500 gram butter from the fridge. Cook with your child, looking at the different types of measurements. What's bigger, a cup of flour or a tablespoon of flour? How do you know? Tell me about the difference between those units. Describe your movements in your daily interactions. I'm going to sit next to the tree. Put your shoes under the chair. Another great way to do this is when you're driving in the car. Explain to your child the route that you're taking. I'm going to turn left at the next corner. Then I'm going to turn right. I'm going to proceed straight. Have them point to the left when you turn left, point to the right when you turn right. Sharing that experience with them and exposing them to that language is really important for their development. Another way of doing this is through sorting activities. What looks the same, what is different? Getting a child to sort perhaps their toys, or always a good one in my house, sorting the socks, grouping together the big pile of socks that have been left there or have reappeared after years of vanishing. Counting. This is a key one that we all love, and students usually begin their counting journey prior to entering school. And it's one of the first experiences that they have of mathematics in those early years. We can support this by listening to songs that encourage or count in sequences, but a really key thing to do is counting objects and grouping them with one-to-one movement. Encourage your child to touch each item as they move it from place to place and share with you what they are doing as they move through. Our students typically learn to count by rote, by hearing the numbers over and over again. A great way of ensuring that knowledge is further embedded is by starting at a different number other than 1. So we're going to count from 15 today. We're going to count by 2s from 10, and then moving on to counting backwards. There are key things that we can do with our children at home to support their numeracy development. Games and play. Sometimes in the busyness of our day, we forget to draw breath. One of the other key things for developing early numeracy skills is actually playing games and interacting with one another. Things like Snap and using a typical pack of cards looking at symbols might be a great place to start. Asking your child to look at the cards and compare the numbers, the numerals that are written on them. Perhaps they sort them into colours of red and black. Perhaps they're sorting into different suits, spades, hearts, diamonds, etc. And then the next step in that process is playing board games, rolling the dice and using a dice with dot patterns on it to recognise what those symbols or what those dots represent. It goes back to that one-to-one counting. That will be really helpful. Cookie cutters in Play-Doh, always lots of fun, making a bit of mess and getting our hands working. But using those pattern or shape blocks, cookie cutters, to cut out different shapes and discussing what we notice about them. So if it's a circle shape, it's got a curved edge. If it's a square shape, how many sides has it got? Where are the corners? Once we've made the different shapes, perhaps looking at which is taller, which is shorter, longer, etc. All of those sorts of things are really important to your child's numeracy development. Making patterns. Identifying and then explaining visual patterns around what we might see in the environment is helpful as well. Often we see these patterns in our clothing or on wrapping paper. Perhaps it's a pattern in the environment that students can follow. Talking about those, looking at the pattern and describing the things that you see, modelling that for your child and having them mimic that back is a great way to introduce the concept of pattern and looking at those more closely. Get your child to create their own pattern of whether it be blocks or pegs. You might start it off and they might continue it on and explain why they have gone in the direction that they have. Clapping a rhythmic pattern together. Dance moves, always a fun one. Following along with the movement patterns and steps. And of course, we can do that through drawing. Moving with mathematics. This is always a fun one, and when I tiptoe into our kindergarten classrooms, it's great to see our kindergarten students moving and creating actions to go along with their counting or mathematical skills. Passing a ball to one another and counting how many catches you can have before someone drops the ball is a great way for incorporating movement into mathematics and thinking about the learning in a different way. Estimating how many hops to reach a specific spot. So guessing and estimating and then trying out your guesses. As you climb the steps up to the top level of your house, or maybe you're out visiting or on a walk, counting the steps as you climb them is a great way of incorporating mathematics into the things that we do every day. We mentioned cooking earlier. That's another fantastic way to look at mathematics, but using things like scales and estimating and guessing the weights of things and then measuring that. And when we're at the park, using things like a seesaw. So putting things on at opposite ends and working out what you need to balance that. Maybe you're moving one of the weights forward or one of the weights back on that and discuss why that has occurred. Great things that we can do through movement and play in mathematics. Hopefully over the coming weeks we'll have some perfect weather to be outside and playing in the water or in the sandpit. Providing your child with different size plastic cups in different shapes is a really great way for getting them thinking about the size of things and how much different things hold. Looking at thin, tall cups compared to short, wider cups, and discuss which one you think will hold the most and why, and then investigate what you're thinking. Using informal units to measure in your household items. So when you're on the trampoline jumping, perhaps measuring one side of the trampoline to the other using your hand span and counting in informal units. Maybe it's how many steps from one side of our house to the other. Maybe it's creating a challenge for your family at home in the afternoon to build the tallest tower out of blocks. And at the moment, as you know, we've had lots and lots of rain. So using a rain gauge perhaps in your backyard and emptying that each day or each week and recording that to see how much rain we've had and measuring that. These are just some of the key things that you can do with your child in terms of developing early numeracy through play and experiences that they have at home. My details you can see on the screen. If you have any questions or queries, please do not hesitate to contact me on the details below. Engaging your child in numeracy discussions and working with them through play is a really great and helpful way to transition them to numeracy in the classroom. Take care.